throwing my legs out on my back pegs so I can get even lower. Are you guys seeing this? Test driving everything and anything with two wheels to help you find your next bike. I'm Sean Kerr, and this is SRK Cycles. What's up, guys? Sean here from Srkcycles.com. And there's a lot of guys out there doing top speed videos, breaking the law, showing how fast their bikes can go. But some bikes out there, you don't need to break the law, do a top speed video. We're gonna see how fast a 250cc little itty bitty tiny rebel can do with a 180-pound grown man on it. Let's do it, guys. Guys, let's do words of wisdom. Romans 3:23 through 24. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in Jesus Christ. Amen. Alright, so let's talk about the Honda Rebel. They made this bike from like 1987 to like 2016, I think. It may possibly be the longest production bike where they didn't really change anything. But why would they? It's a great bike. I mean, it really is. It really was a great bike. People really love riding these things. They kept on selling. I will say this, there is a lot of misconception about these bikes. I do not think, for someone like me, I do not think these bikes are made for grown men to be buying and riding them. I think that's just a bad idea. I think you're too big. Now, if you know somebody that has one, borrow it for a couple days, borrow it for a week, ride around it. But to buy it and then sell it, I mean, maybe it's not that bad of an idea. You pay a couple $100 registration, a couple $100 in taxes. They're not that much to tax and register. But then you get you're not gonna lose money on it when you flip it. That's a good point. So maybe it's not that bad of an idea. But I think these bikes are great for the younglings, for the younger ones, and for the ladies. Because it's an extremely unintimidating size, which is perfect for that young little lady who you're like, come on, let's get you into riding, and she's like, no, bikes are too big. And I can see that, you know. I remember a couple years ago, I was intimidated by just like Dynas. I remember the first time I hopped on a Dyna from only being on sport bikes. It was like 300 pounds more, and I was like, wow, this is a lot. This is, you know, but intimidated was like one split second, and I just jumped on it, popped a wheelie, it did a burnout, and then smoked a cigarette. Don't smoke, kids. No, I didn't smoke no cigarette. I don't do that. Alright, so let's jump on the highway. Third gear, baby. We're in top gear. We're tucking low. I'm throwing my legs out on my back pegs so I can get even lower. Are you guys seeing this? The bike is starting to feel kind of unstable. There you have it. It can do the speed limit. I bet if you had a big hill, if you had a really big hill, you had a backwind, I don't think it's unrealistic to think that you might be able to hit 95. maybe even 100. Although it did the way I was sitting, it did start feeling a little bit kind of unstable. I was not thrilled about it. So, the Rebel. You can go up and down the highway on it. You can... A great bike to learn how to ride on it. The reason you see these things with a lot of times very low miles and oftentimes a little bit of damage is because it's like a sport car. It's like sports cars. A lot of people buy them, but then something comes up and they sell them, or a bike like this, people buy them, they learn how to ride, they step up, they get something bigger. They realize this is a little too small for me. Now there is the occasional young lady or lady who's like, I just like this bike. I can keep up with everyone else. I can go, you know, if everyone's going the speed limit, upside down 45, they can go 45, you know? Now if everyone's going 105, you're gonna be a little bit behind, but that's all right. So it can keep up. It is a fun bike. It does get you on 2 wheels. They are incredibly cheap. You know, they're around, they're normally, I've never sold one for anything more than I think $2,500. And that's from a dealer. If you're buying them privately, you can probably get them a little bit closer to 2. But if you were looking for a bigger bike, you can get you could probably buy a Honda Shadow 750 for around that, you know, pretty close to that price. But depending on who you are, a 750 might be a little too intimidating. It might be a little too much bike. This is very forgiving, extremely forgiving. This is the closest thing to the next step up from a bicycle that has a pretty decent sized motor on it, but was built around it, you know? And there's no pedals, and it's comfortable, and it's small, and it's nimble. Watch me. Ooh, nimble. So, great bikes. We sell them very quickly, just because a lot of people are looking for them. And when we do have the really pristine ones, the really nice ones, this one's okay. It runs great, but when we have the really nice ones, it's like they only sell for 100 or 200 bucks more than the ones that were, you know, been dropped a couple times. So let's do a little quick recap. Honda Rebel, great bike to learn on. For men, probably not the best bike to own. Super nimble, super light, easy, the cheapest things to maintain. You just don't do anything to them. You just fire them up and ride. You never have issues. Maybe you change a battery once in a decade. They're light, they're inexpensive. Awesome bike. Check out the next video. We'll see you guys later. This one is for sale. Srkcycles.com. See what else we got.